Welcome back, everyone, to another episode on the Let's Trot Show, where we dive deep into the stories of successful individuals. For today's episode, I'll be sitting down with Jackson Hastings. Jackson has had quite the journey so far, being involved with a few NRL clubs and Super League. He is as competitive as they come, and in 2019 was awarded the Man of Steel as the Super League's best player. He's not afraid to speak his mind, and neither am I. We'll dig in on his career, the highs and lows, the twists and run-ins he's had along the way that has shaped him to be the man he is today. Sit back and enjoy.
Out of 10, how hot's this?
Nah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, you eat that?
If there's one moment you could take back, what would it be?
Oh, there's a lot I'd like to take back.
The comparisons with the NRL and Super League.
Yeah.
Is there a big gap between them in terms of style of play?
I don't know if they'd be able to get up every single week to play against the talent that's in the NRL. It's so top heavy in talent, and the good clubs always get the best players.
Your little bust up in our altercation with DC.
It nearly ruined my career, that. The death threats I got and all the stuff going to England. It put him in a compromising position, myself in a compromising position. What it did to my family and his family. So I went from the high of winning the minor premiership round 26 to playing you guys in a semi, like unbelievable high, and then just going, oh no.
Busy man. Speaking of busy man, you're going to be a busy man soon. Going to be a dad for the first time, huh?
Yeah, I know.
How
Are we
good?
on?
Yeah, we're on.
Oh, sorry. That's how much my head's gone. No, I'm excited, mate. Obviously, partners, she's 17 weeks pregnant, so life's about to change for the better.
You going to find out the sex? Or?
Little girl, we've already found
Little
out.
girl.
Little princess. So
Oh, good.
I was a bit like that at the start. I was hell bent on having a boy, but my mind's completely changed. And
I was like that as well. I'm not going to lie. I think all of us want boys, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
Listen, I was one of those dads where I want to kind of like, have that son so I can kind of push him into sport.
Yeah, that's kind of like me.
Yeah.
We were just talking about on the way down, is she going to be a runner, a footy player? So we're already thinking ahead. But like both our mums are super excited. Both bought her shoes, clothes already. It's going to be a madhouse soon. Amelia's family's going to fly from England after the baby's born, and then my family lives just down the road. So it's going to be a hectic few months.
Has the conversation come up about how many kids you guys want?
I always said to Amelia, and she's of the agreement, if we get one of each, but then she's one or two girls. I've got two sisters, so she kind of likes the idea of having two girls, but obviously you don't get to decide. So we'll have to touch wood for a little boy.
Knock on wood, knock on wood. I've got three. I'm blessed. So we had my daughter first, Sienna, then my son Andre. And then the third one, we're like tossing and turning. Do we go again? And we actually struggled for our third kid.
Yeah, right.
Which was weird. And then after a year, we kind of opted to go IVF.
Right.
And bro, it was the rest was history. It's like I'm not glad that I did IVF, but I'm glad in the sense that I've got a bigger perspective now, and I know how hard it is for those people out there to actually have kids in the modern day.
Yeah,
happens so often.
Mate, we were so lucky. We were like open to having a baby. We weren't actively trying. If it happened, we're really grateful, and it obviously just happened like that. And obviously, some people, like you said, aren't as fortunate, so it gives you a greater perspective on that. But shoot.
I love it, man. All the best with it.
Yeah,
all the
thank
best.
you, mate. I
What else has
appreciate
been happening, mate?
Not a lot. Just been up to the UK to tell Amelia's family. So that was really exciting, mate. Like for her to be able to tell her mum and dad and sister and close friends and family to their face. Obviously, I've got the luxury of having the family here. So my mum's reaction and people's reaction close to me was unreal. And then obviously her family was brilliant too. And then we got to go to Dubai on the way home. Her sister and best friend lived there. So
love Dubai.
It's unbelievable.
I went there this year as well.
Yeah. So she got to tell them to her face, and then we got to enjoy we had the freezing cold in England, and then we had the obviously stupid heat in Dubai, so it was a good holiday. And now just back training in a couple of days a week for pre-season, getting a little head start, so get the body fat down so I'm not in extras when I get back.
I was going to say, are you ever in Fat Club? I doubt it. Like,
I'm not fat in the sense, but like I do blow up a little bit if I just stand there doing weights and not enough running, so I got in my head that I'll go in and do a couple of the long running sessions just to get my legs back under me. And some of the young kids left me for dead yesterday. It was quite embarrassing. So, yeah.
That's one thing I don't miss about playing footy. It's just a grueling pre-season. It'll break me if I did it again.
It never gets easier, eh? Never.
I went for a run yesterday morning, and the one thing that I used to hate as well about pre-season, the flies. Oh,
or
man.
in Penrith as well.
Like, horrid.
Double the heat.
Like, I remember I was like gassed, like I'm about to like spew. And then there was one time where I looked at one of the boys' back and there was like a horde of flies just attached. I just spew my guts out everywhere.
Were you still on the 1.2 back in the day? Or Penrith did that.
Broncos?
Yeah, you used to do that 2K run though, didn't you? Isn't that what you used to do?
Man, we've done everything out in Penrith. The common test that we do now for con, we'll do the yo-yo test first couple of days in, which is pretty much a 20-metre shuttle up and back. And then we also do the 4-minute runs. So it's pretty much up and back a footy field.
We did that yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So we did 2 2-minute runs, 2 4-minute runs. The 4-minute runs are torture.
It's just a mind fuck. It's just a mind fuck. But like, you know what? I can see the benefit and understand the idea of the exercise. Like, it sounds so repetitive, but it's like how
mental toughness.
It's about building mental toughness as well as fitness, right?
Yeah.
2016 when I had Hook, I didn't do any training throughout the off season. I did it on purpose though.
Yeah.
And I got a rude awakening. Oh my God. I rocked up. We jogged to this oval called Jamison Park. It's a massive park.
Yeah.
Joggers on, no football, just running all session. I could barely walk for the rest of the week. It was
How'd
fun.
you go with the running? Because you're obviously power and speed and
Obviously, yeah.
yeah, maybe not speed, but power.
Oh no!
That's coming from one slow person. No, you're faster than me. But how'd you go with the long running?
The long running I developed
years?
over the years. Yeah, like I was more about power and sprinting at the early start of my career, but the later on I kind of started enjoying the longer stuff.
Yeah, right.
Never could swim. Never could swim. I don't know about you.
You got big feet, but how come you can't swim?
It doesn't matter. Well, you got big feet as well, which
I can swim.
I was actually surprised. Like, you're not the tallest bloke like me, but like you're 13.
6'1".
Well, speaking of shoes, our proud sponsor Shoegrab, I just a little small thank you for making the drive down to the studio, bro, for today. Why don't you dive into that, see what you got? Yeah, 100% open it up.
Have you got good swag or what?
Sort of.
If I'm judging by your Instagram, it's pretty good.
Oh, there you go. I'll take that as a win. What do we got?
Oh, a little
thank you card. Are you sponsor?
I'm with Asics, but you know what? Hey, you know what, bro? I'll just undercover.
They're nice.
I appreciate that, bro.
You can rock that. I can't. I think they're P6000s. Are they P6000s there or 3000s? No, 6000s. Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you to Shoegrab as well.
My pleasure. Bro, you've been your name's been floating around the media the last few weeks about maybe a possible trade from Newcastle. Can you I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Like, is there truth of it? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure, mate. My name gets tossed around every year, all year round, all sorts of stuff. But there's no truth to it on my end. Obviously, I haven't been approached by Newcastle to go anywhere else, and I haven't been contacted by another club. I'm settled at Newcastle.
Cool.
Me and Amelia bought a house there middle of last year, and I'm thanks, bro. And I'm loving it there. You know, obviously the end of the year for me personally wasn't what I would have liked it to be, but I'm really settled there and really love the fans and playing at McDonald Jones. We get 29, 30,000 every single week. So to go somewhere else and leave that would be really hard, but definitely no truth from my end whatsoever.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for clearing that up. Talk to me about Newcastle itself. Like it's a big club.
Yeah.
Fanatical fan base.
Yeah.
What's it like to play there?
Yeah, mate, it's unbelievable. Obviously, they had a few lean years, probably 10 years ago, won a couple of spoons in a row. I remember talking to the Safidi boys when I first got there. They debuted in the year that they won one game all year.
Wow.
And, like, I was just thinking I could never picture, like, the mental challenge that would be going into training every day, going home. Obviously, you'd get abused by not even your own fan base, other fan bases.
Yeah, of course.
But then to still have, like, 20-odd thousand every single week, rain, hail or shine, turn up and support the club. When I went there, you have an outsider's view on what that would look like and what that would feel like. But like being there for the last 2 years, the fan base is so good, like so good. And I'm not going to sit here and try and compare it to any other fan base. But from the clubs that I've played at, they're head and shoulders. Like their loyalty and just to turn up no matter what the weather, how we're going. And the last 2 years we've gone pretty well. Obviously, we made week 2 of the finals last year, and then the season just gone, we made week 1 and got beat. So I think we're in a position now as a club where we really need to take advantage of what we got and take that next step and really be pushing to play week 3, obviously grand finals and stuff like that. And for other people, they might think it's far-fetched, but the people within the 4 walls believe in that, and we just need to go out there and execute and put the club where it belongs. I
love it. And do you want to be the main man? Do you want to be the player, the main chief maker up there? Or?
Yeah, of course, mate. Like as I said to you, the end of the year wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, and it just is what it is. It's just part of the journey. My whole life and journey is kind of gone like that, so it kind of fits into the storybook of what it is.
Typical rugby league, brother, roller coaster.
Exactly.
Get used to it.
It's kind of like what my whole life and story's been about too. So it's just another chapter in that, which I'm looking forward to rectifying this year. And like I said to you at the start, like I've gone in a couple of days early to do preseason, not to get a pat on the back or a award or look like I'm brown nosing, but it's just to make sure that I'm giving myself every possibility to be performing at the highest level and practicing what I preach. Like you used to ask, do I want to be the main man and the guy? And every single time anyone ever asks me that, I'll always say yes. Like I've got unwavered confidence and belief in what I can do on a footy field and what I bring to a team. And I've been so good since I was a kid at like blocking out the external stuff. Like you'll see me every now and then. I'll reply to a comment or I'll give it back to someone just because it's funny.
Don't we all?
Especially when their fathers are 4 and like grown men with like weird profile pictures. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hammer him back. And I had one the other day that deleted his comment. It's just like, well, you can't give it and not take it. But to answer your question, yes, I want to be the guy that brings glory to the club or be a part of what the club gets. So
you touched on how you went to training a bit earlier, and I feel like the game where it is now, like players can't afford to rock up to day one of preseason doing no prep whatsoever in the off season. Like I said it in 2016, I rocked up on day one, underdone, underprepared, and mate, I felt it the first couple of weeks. It took me a bit longer to obviously get in the swing of things, and as you would know, like how many preseasons you've done now? 8, 9?
No, I think this is 11.
Jesus
10
Christ.
or 11. Yeah, my first one, I went straight out of year 12, straight to the Roosters at 17. So,
well, let's talk about that. Yeah, you're from Wollongong, right? You're St George Junior, Illawarra Steelers.
Yeah, St George. Yeah, but I was an Illawarra boy, but obviously St George combined club. So
you're like one of the hottest prospects growing up in the junior system, no?
Yeah. No, it feels weird to say now because I'm so old, but yeah, I was back in the day. I was a little bit faster. But I come through in a great system. We had Jack Bird, Ewan Aiken, Adam Clune, Drew Hutchison. So we had a hotbed of talent. Like our junior teams were always good, and I was sort of the beneficiary of playing with such great players. I was a year younger than all those boys, so I was lucky enough to play in my own age. And then when it got to the point where we all went together and played Matt's ball, and then I think we had Adam Fanil Blake in our 20 side.
Jesus.
So we had a fair red hot side. I remember me, Birdie, Adam, and I think you and all debuted in the 20s team at the same time. So our SG ball season had finished and we went straight into 20s. So I was 17, the boys had just turned 18. So if we all stayed together, you never know what it could have been.
That was my next question.
But like I had the opportunity to go to the Roosters. I had a fair few clubs that were knocking. Wayne was at the Knights. He was pretty keen. I flew to the Cowboys to meet them, and I got to meet Jono for the first time as a 17-year-old.
That's cool.
Obviously, Sammy had Jono, so like the persuasion was there, but I was a mummy's boy, so it was probably a little bit too far for me to go. Had the Roosters and Dragons. It was like a four-way fight at the time, and then funny enough, the Roosters had like the clearest pathway for me to get to the NRL. They had Piercy and Jimmy there, and Daniel Mortimer was leaving at the end of the year that I was signing, so there was a spot there to become like a utility hooker half, and just sort of took that with both hands and ran with it. It was a bit rough for me, obviously. Pretty confident kid and going to a club that just won a premiership full of internationals and origin players. I got a rude awakening. Used to have to wrestle with the middles as a 17-year-old and the boys would throw me around.
I remember big boys in that team.
I remember the first time I walked in there and like Sonny and Jared and Sam Moa and all those boys were getting ready to wrestle. You have no sense of belonging at all. So like all through my juniors, I felt like I was a guy. I had this really big sense of belonging. And then when I walked into that room, I felt so small. Well, I was, but like I just felt so small compared to these guys. And then you think you're on the path to making it, and then you have to spend one wrestle session and you think I've got a long way to go. So
did you date your ability when you joined that squad?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like, I went through the same thing.
I was extremely confident, and as I said to you just before, like I've always been extremely confident in my own ability and who I am as a person, a footy player. But when you like watch the way they, I don't know, just small things like how they prepared. I couldn't lift weights obviously anywhere near what they were lifting, so it was embarrassing. Like you'd been like a group of 4 and they'd have to strip the bar for you every time. So like I'd go home, I'd be a little bit embarrassed about that. But that's what's turned me into like what I am now. Like I probably overtrain in the off season. Like I'm always doing weights. I'm always trying to do some form of cardio machine. I get up every morning. My missus always goes like, just have a day off. But like mentally for me,
good for the head.
Yeah, exactly right. Like mentally for someone like me that's got like ADHD and OCD and stuff like that, like getting that out of the way early, I sort of like trickles into what the season becomes. Obviously, it's like you have to be here at this time, wear this, we're training at this time, so it kind of helps that. But
so you really like value routine?
Yeah, I need it. Yeah. I need it. Like when we're on holidays, even like I'll get up and I'll go train, and she'll just be sometimes like, "What are you doing?" I have to do it. As soon as I tick that box, I feel like I've got the day to do whatever I want them. But yeah, going back, I just felt so emasculine and like so out of my depth. It wasn't funny, but
makes sense.
Robbo was the perfect coach for me at that time. Like was brutally honest with where I was at. He always give me a pat on the back, but was always honest about how far away I was. There was no like, oh, you're here when I was here. I just slowly progressed up, and then he helped me debut as an 18-year-old, which I'll never forget and always be grateful for. You
came into the squad where they won the grand final the previous year, correct? It was 2014?
No, they won 13.
13, but you come in at 14. Yeah, that's right. But also your dad played for the Roosters as well, as I believe. He's one of the most capped players at the club. True.
Yeah.
Was that any part of the reason you wanted to go there?
You know what? A little bit. Like I'd be lying if I said there wasn't like an infatuation with trying to outdo him, which I obviously didn't do. But I've said this to someone else. Like I didn't have the greatest relationship with Dad, but he's all over the walls. So like everywhere I went, I saw him. But in real life, he was never there. So that was extremely weird for me. And then if you'd have an old boys day, for example, they would all be there, and my old man was in America, so they would all be asking me how he's going and stuff like that. And that was always really uncomfortable for me. And I didn't realise how big the burden was of being a halfback at the Roosters where my dad played until I'd left. And it's like the weight of the world just like lifted off my shoulders. And I always will be Kevin's son, obviously, but I stopped being like Horry's boy or Kevin's boy, and I became Jackson.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. I would have loved to have stayed at the Roosters my whole career, right? And never had a drama, one club person, all the rest of it. I love the club. I was a supporter as a kid. I still watch them closely. Like I love, like my favourite player was Mitchell Pearce, Todd Carney, boys like that. Like I love the Roosters, but going away, it just took that weight off me. And I feel like if I was there now as like a 28, 29-year-old, I wouldn't feel the same pressures as what I did as a kid. It was just a little bit too much for me, I think, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's fair enough. You mentioned your dad, and is it all right for kind of establish your relationship and talk about that? Is that all right?
Yeah.
You said that he wasn't really there, part of your life. Like, why was that?
So mum and dad broke up when I was 4 and a half. Dad lived in Dad lived in Australia till I was 7 or 8, I think it was, and he'd come watch me play footy on the weekends. I'd stay at his house. So like the relationship was never always just broken. It wasn't like we never spoke. And then I remember one day I got home from school and Mum was telling me that Dad was moving to America, and it was meant to be for 3 months. Then it ended up being 3 years. Then it ended up being, I think all up he moved for 10 years. So by the time he got back, I was making my NRL debut. He got back probably like 3 weeks before that.
Wow.
Before we played the Rabbitohs in round 26. And I'd seen him previously for like snippets, like a couple of days here and there over a 10-year period. And then I remember running out to make my NRL debut, and the Roosters used to do this thing where they'd get like an ex-player, or if it was a certain round, they'd be on the field on the mic talking behind a desk. And I remember just running out and I heard his name, and all my family was sitting up in the big suites there, and then he was on the field, and it was just like this weird. At the time, it felt weird, but looking back on it, I always talk to people like, I'm actually so glad that my mum and dad were both there to witness it and be a part of it, because it would have been like, I would have looked back in, even now, I would have looked back and gone, oh, it would have been good to have both my parents there. Like it's something that I wanted to do ever since I could walk. But as weird as it was, to have him there was kind of unique and special at the same time. But our relationship's just, it is what it is. We're never going to be fully close or fully like father, son and looking after each other. But obviously rang him to tell him that we're having a baby, and he'll be a part of the baby's life. He'll be Pop, I think. So he's going to have to be around a little bit, and as long as him and Mum can sit in the same room and get along, we'll be all right.
You sound like my parents, man. Far out. Like they obviously respect each other and stuff like that, but you know, they split up and went their separate ways. And I come from a broken home as well, so like what you're saying kind of like gives me those old memories as well. And it's not easy, because like I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like every boy needs their dad. And
exactly, mate. Yeah,
it's a bit hard, and you know, at the end of the day, the dads are role models, and they're not around. Then you're going to have to kind of establish and figure out how to be a dad, how to be a good partner yourself. Yeah,
well, in the past, I regret a lot of things I've said about my dad, just purely because I put a lot of like the trouble I went through, I pushed the blame to him, on him not being around. And don't get me wrong, there's parts of, if he was around and I had someone, a father figure, to discipline me, tell me right from wrong, teach me, that obviously would have helped. But at some point you grow up and you realise that you made that mistake, like you did the wrong thing. So if I could go back in time and eliminate some things I said about my dad, I definitely would. But my mum did a fantastic job. Like I get it all the time, mummy's boy and stuff like that. But she was the rock, and she's been the one constant in my life, apart from the last 7 years having Amelia. She's the one constant in my life that will support me through thick and thin. Like I could put a hole in that wall right now and she'd say it's your fault. You know what I mean? So she's as rock solid as they come, and I love it a bit. So
we love our mums.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to you. So you've obviously gone to the Roosters. The first year you signed there, you debuted like the last round of the regular season.
Yeah.
And then You knew I was going to
You've
pick it
been
up,
waiting
mate.
to ask this the whole time, mate. It's the only reason you got me on the podcast.
Who did I speak to the other day about it?
We were talking about it.
Yeah, but also I think it was Piercy. I think we spoke about spoke to Piercy about that night as well.
Yeah.
And for me on our side, like I remember going to that week preparing for you guys, and obviously there was a lot of nervous energy, and
Yeah.
you know, coming up against the reigning champs. You know, you guys had all the stars. You were at full strength, pretty much.
No,
yeah,
we were. Yeah, we
You
were. Yeah.
And we just thought, why not? Let's just give this a fucking crack. Like
You just played so well. I remember, you know, I've got a weird memory from that night. I remember running out to warm up. Obviously, we go left, you go right, whatever. And I remember you were doing like some weird, like I had Ronnie Palmer at the Tigers, champion.
Yeah,
I love Ronnie
best,
Palmer,
one of the
best blokes of all time. But you were doing some warm up that I'd never seen before, and I was thinking, mate, like
I can't even remember.
like if we can't win, they're doing like this weird like thing that they would do in the 80s. I don't know what it was. It was like a weird version of a hammy sweep, for example. I don't know. And I just looked over. I thought, I don't know. And then we walked out, and you just punched us in the mouth. You just played well. Like Dallin's flick pass.
Oh my god.
Like that moment, and then Sowie kicking it from the sideline.
Oh my god.
And I love Sowie, but his field goal was shit house. Like I
Yeah.
can't believe that
He
went
shocked
over.
that, yeah,
I
he
can't
shocked
believe that
cleanly.
went over. But so I went from the high of winning the minor premiership round 26 to playing you guys in a semi, like unbelievable high, and then just going, oh no. And we went on the other side of the draw then, and we ended up getting beat by the Rabbitohs, who eventually won it. So yeah, it was a weird couple of weeks for me. I went from like never thinking I was going to play NRL as a teenager to winning the minor premiership, to playing you guys in the semi, to getting beat by one of the ugliest field goals of all time. But shout out to Sowie.
Mate, we
What
were
a kick.
busted to that game. We were so busted.
Yeah, I know.
Like that week off, the week after, mate, we were just...
Who'd you play the week after?
So we had obviously the bye because we won, and then
yeah.
we played the Dogs in the semis, and we just got beat by one try.
Yeah.
And you know, they probably deserved to be in the grand final. Like that, a pretty good team, pretty good season.
Oh, right,
I think
yeah.
they were just a bit more fresher than us, and
Yeah.
we were just hobbling through, man, and
Well, fair play to you. She's done a fair job.
yeah, far out. Did pretty good. And back to your time at the Roosters. Why did you not? Like I don't know. I think you obviously would have went to the Roosters thinking you're going to be there long term.
Yeah.
You know, your dad played there for the club. And, you know, your development as well was
Yeah. on
the right track with the
Yeah.
Roosters. Why leave?
Well, it just come down to what I was sort of talking about before. Me probably being a bit too big for my boots.
Yeah.
Attitude-wise, like just not being able to be told something because I thought I knew it all already. And looking back, I knew absolutely nothing. And as a senior player or an older player now, when you watch kids come through, you can see the ones that have got the really good attitude in terms of like willing to listen. I'd never had the issue with training hard and my diligence and how much I love the game and what I put into it. Mine was all like
Criticism?
yeah, I could take criticism. I'm pretty critical of myself. Like if you sat in our household after a loss, you'd hear me absolutely tear shreds off myself. But it was more not being able to listen, take advice on board about like a drill, for example. Like I thought I just knew everything. And like I just said, like I see kids now come into our system and you like can pick them. You can pick the ones that are willing to listen and the ones that are like, I've probably got this, mate. I don't need your hand. And I can see how that rubbed people up the wrong way. And at the time, I just think that they thought that I wasn't fitting into what they wanted to do as a club. They're a very extremely proud club and huge culture, and I probably wasn't the towing the line in that aspect. And it was just like a mutual decision to sort of cut ties, and they ended up signing Luke Keary, winning multiple comps, and I went off on a wacky journey, wild journey that's led me to sitting here in front of you. So as I said to you, like in an ideal world, playing for the Roosters my whole career is what I wanted to do as a 17, 18-year-old. That's all I ever wanted to achieve. But I've been able to experience so many different things after leaving that I suppose that's just the journey that was sort of set out for me and the one I'm on right now.
Well, it's a big club. Like we're seeing now, like there's reports of tapping Brandon Smith on the shoulder.
Yeah.
You've got Terrell May that's been asked to leave, and
Yeah.
it just shows how big and how the club like a tight ship.
Cutthroat, yeah.
It's cutthroat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'll be interested to see where if Brandon does leave. I don't know where he would go, but same with Terrell. Like it's just who would they if they're going to lose those two guys? Who do they bring in? I don't know.
Someone's definitely coming in. I think
Surely.
they're so smart. Like the way they operate, like it's pretty cool. Like the way they operate, they just everything to a T. The Rooster way. Someone will come in for sure.
Well, then you went to Manly.
Yeah.
Big difference in terms of culture and clubs.
Yeah, it was. We were training our demountables at Manly. They were still sort of
Narrabeen?
building. Yeah, they were still building their centre of excellence or trying to get approved for it at Brookvale Oval. So our recovery was in like demountables and stuff. And apparently the 2 years before I got there, they had to use a hose for a shower.
No.
Stuff like that. Yeah,
No.
apparently. Yeah, it was pretty, it was eye-opening to like have it all essentially at a club like the Roosters, to go to another great club in Manly and probably not have as much, but it taught you that you don't need all the shiny toys to be a successful club. Like we made the finals both years I was there, had some fantastic players that are obviously still there. And culturally, it was different but the same. Like the leaders at Manly were really, really good and kept everyone in line, same as the Roosters. So I think most clubs, like from that year that we played in the semi to now, have all figured it out that you need to establish that leadership within the club for it to be successful, and Manly were no different, really.
When you had, like you spoke about shiny toys, like, you got the Centre of Excellence, nice flashy gym, you know, the recovery setup.
Yep.
I feel like that hinders players when they get that sense of entitlement, you know, like if you got a gym that's pretty much, you got rusted weights here and there and stuff like that, like you still can get the exact same value as a nice shiny gym, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's the kind of the way you, I guess, view it and see it. And like, if you feel like entitled and you feel like you deserve all the best things in the NRL, like I feel like that's when your kind of ego gets the best of you.
Well, it's gonna change now because every club's getting a grant to get a centre of excellence. I
didn't
think.
even know that.
And I've been at the Tigers who have had like the big flash
have you
threes.
seen that?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, we've got a great one at Newcastle, and I think most clubs are getting a grant to get it done. So times have obviously changed. Obviously, when you come in at Penrith, I could imagine the state of the gym and what it would have been.
We had cockroach infestations, mate. We had this big fan in the sheds because, like, especially in preseason, it used to be a hot box and like there was the walls were bloody dripping sweat. But yeah, now they obviously got a nice flashy high performance setup, which is outstanding. But they make the most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely make the most of it. There's two sides to it though. Like there's the entitlement side and there's no excuse. You got no excuse not to do your recovery, do your weights, and it gives you every chance to perform on the weekend. And I suppose if kids coming through make the most of that, then they're going to have a longer career because there's machines in there now that you would have never seen before playing that are going to give you the best chance to play for a longer period of time too. So just however you approach it, I think.
I don't know if you've noticed, but like I definitely noticed, and we're gonna just put this to bed right now. I think you know what I'm gonna come with, but your little bust up in our altercation with DC out of Manly. Whenever someone thinks of your time at Manly, they refer straight to that moment. What happened? What happened?
Come on, bro. Nah, just look. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Obviously, it nearly ruined my career. That like
that's what I'm saying. It was a big moment in your career.
4.5 years, I got exiled from the game. Like literally, a week after that happened, if you put up every club on a piece of paper, they all just put the line straight through me. I remember ringing Sammy, and essentially it was almost like someone ringing you about going to a funeral. He just said, "Mate, like, look, I'm really sorry, but we have to go to England. That's it." And I had 2 dogs that I loved. Like they're still alive, bless them. But like I was like, I'm not going. I've got these little dogs that I need to look after. This, that, and he just gave me the ultimatum and said, "Mate, if you don't go, you may as well go look for a 9 to 5." You know, we both apologised to each other not long after it. I'm extremely apologetic for the reason that I'm having a little girl now, and he had three young kids, I think, at the time, and to be a part of a reason that someone had their family dragged through that. Especially his kids and his partner. I'm very remorseful for that. Like obviously I was young and what happened to me was horrible, and the death threats I got and all the stuff going to England, but it also led me to living the life I live now. I met Amelia when I was over there. I had her family that supported me. I've got a child on the way because of it. But during that period of time, like I remember like when the termination come through, like the death threats, like the journos at the front of my house, like went to go get a coffee. I was on the back page for like 20 days in a row.
It's a bit overkill. Like
massive, mate. Yeah.
I'm not trying to like, make excuses for you.
No, for sure.
Like you obviously owned it, but fuck, man, like there's a tussle here and there with teammates, during the season. Like it's natural, but I feel like that moment was really blown out of proportion. And how did it even get out?
Well, I was an easy story to write about too. You got to remember, like my name since probably I reckon 14 has been so easy to write about in a negative light. It's probably easier than writing something positive because like this narrative that I've always had about me, no matter how hard I've tried to shift it, the harder I go one way, the more it just backfires and goes the other way. So like they've always painted me the villain, right? Everyone's always painted, but when I act like the villain, they all go up in arms and are like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" It's like, so what do you want from me? Do you want me to be the good guy or the bad guy? At some point in my life, they've wanted me to be the heel, and now I'm just kind of happy to play along with it. You know, at that time I was like, no, I've got to be loved by everyone. Everyone has to support me, this, that. Now I'm just kind of like, I'm not actively going to like try and annoy people like from the outside, not my teammates, like from like Twitter, Instagram, journos. But if they want me to be the villain, well, I'll just play the parts.
Yeah.
Don't complain about it when I'm doing it. But
Every story needs a villain.
exactly right. Yeah, and I've been the villain on many occasions. But yeah, going back to that, like, if I could have my time all over again, wouldn't have got as drunk, wouldn't have broke curfew, wouldn't have been a young idiot, and I wouldn't have put myself or anyone else in that situation. So I can sit here right now as a grown man, put my hand on heart and apologise to Daly, which I've already done. We've apologised to each other, and people still get into me about it. If I'm kicking a goal from the sideline, people will yell his name out. And
seriously?
Yeah, that's the one, mate. That's the one sledge. That's the one sledge I always get. It's either I get a couple. It's no one likes you, your teammates hate you, or how's Daly going?
Is this coming from fans or opposition?
The opposition. The opposition. That's an easy thing to say. No one likes you. That's kind of funny. Like
you've got a sledge, you.
Yeah,
you've sledged me once. I haven't forgotten. I went to play the ball and I'm like, did he just say that?
Can you say it on camera? No.
Yeah, of course. You're like, fuck you roid butt Charles. I'm like, well. I go, that's a compliment.
That's kind of true. Someone needs to test him.
Oh, please.
Nah.
But I used to get like, no cap. I used to like get tested heaps.
Come on, bro. Like,
but you know how they say this is what pisses me off. You know how they say it's random? It's not random.
No
it's
way.
bullshit. Like it's the biggest bullshit. Like, because I remember confronting one of the officers. I go, mate, am I getting tested again? It was like 3 times in a month.
Yeah.
And he goes, mate, it's all random. I'm like, how's it all random? I go, you've tested me 3 times this month. Yeah. Well, like, it's like you picked my name out of a hat 3 times. Like, come on.
Out of 30 blokes.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And not only that, I think the month later, I was driving home from Penrith and my wife calls me and she goes, are you expecting anyone? I'm like, we used to live in an apartment at the time, so they buzzed up. I'm like, I go, no, why? She's like, well, someone was buzzing your name and they just go, are you here? And I'm like, no, why is that? And they just hung up. And I'm looking outside the window and I can just see him in the car. And I'm like, right. I'm a bit worried, babe. I'm freaking out. This is like a bit late in the afternoon, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no, don't worry, it's all good. Got on the phone, called my Lebo mates. Boys, get down there right now. Like, please, I want to get Danny DeCoya. Go sort this out. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And my mate rocked up. He's a pretty big guy. And he sees him at the front and he knocks on the window and goes, what are you doing here? And they were just staring at him. And the guy, my mate's fully tatted up. And it's like, he didn't know who they were either. And then when I called them, I called what they look like. And they're like, they're like in some like olivey colour. And they got like cargo on. I don't know. They look like they look like Taronga Zoo. Taronga Zoo.
Be careful. They test me all the time.
They're great people. Cock watchers. Anyway, so I'm like, they're a SADA. So I just rocked up, and when I parked up, I'm like, hey boys, let's go. Let's fucking just do this.
Yeah.
Piss in a cup on your way.
It's torture, mate. But like,
we went way off track. Back
to that sledge. Like, I can't complain because I give as good as I get. Like, I'm always in amongst it. Sometimes I take it upon myself to try and roll up the other team's best player. I'm not looking to have a scrap with anyone. I'm just trying to get them off their game. You know what I mean?
It's not personal.
But the one thing that I always gets at, and I just feel like saying to them, like, you need to come up with something like deeper. Like that doesn't. I've heard that since I was about 12. Come on, bro. Like, come up with something deeper. But when it's always funny when I'm kicking a goal because you always get taught to shut it out, right? But sometimes when I put the ball on the tee, I try and take it in a little bit because my whole thing is like when I kick this, I know exactly where this is coming from. And you're getting pointed at, and I'm going to just have a little giggle. So if you ever see me carry on after a kick a goal, it's not to lair up to the cameras or anything. It's just to make sure that guy that's sitting right behind me, that's about 60, usually, knows.
Gut out.
Yeah, that just knows that, F you. But enjoy that part of the game. That part of the game's like one of my favourites. You know, when you're in like a really tight game, it's hotly contested. You're getting spotted out by a big back rower. Sometimes it's just good to let him know that, I'll put you on your back this time.
That's a dent to the ego for the big boys, that's for sure. When they're coming out to one of the little smaller guys and they get put to their back.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
It's the worst feeling in the world, though, when like a team's like setting up to like a spot player and then you see all these fingers pointing at you. There he is. You're just like, fuck off. Go run at someone else, mate.
You've got some big back rollers coming at you as well. Like, you've got kick-outs, you've got your Rickies, you've got your Hamoli. Oh, my God.
Who else?
Well, there's plenty more.
I was literally talking about this the other day. Like, we've got like Kai Pierce-Paul, 6'7".
He's a big boy. Do you reckon you guys will retain him? Is he off contract?
He's off contract at the end of this year. So
Yeah, wow.
he's here this year and yeah, he'll attract interest. He's got one of them body types that no one else has, I don't think, like long, he's going to hate me saying this, long, skinny legs, can offload at will.
Yep.
There's not too many guys that are 6'7". Like he's bigger than Sean Lane and Sean Lane's a big boy. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully we keep him. He's one of my close mates, so would love to see him stay.
Yeah, love that. You obviously your time at Manly finishes up. You go down to Salford, yeah?
Salford, yeah.
Yeah, Salford.
Sorry, I got to correct him. All my English mates will be filthy at that.
Did you pick up the accent when you were there?
A little bit, yeah.
I did as well when I was there for the World Cup. It was really just the lingo, eh? I was
Yeah.
just fucking,
Yeah.
I'm like, did I just sound like that?
I was always interested in like English culture, like, but like I never got around it too much because I'd never thought I'd ever go there and spend a lot of time there and stuff like that. But when I went to Salford, it was just like I was surrounded by it, obviously 24/7 at footy, and then meeting Amelia and her family, I was surrounded by it then. And then I met an extension of Amelia's friendship group that became my friends as well. That like I would hang out with on my own. So just everywhere I went was just English slang, English words, like phrases. And then by about year 2, I could feel myself saying things. So they say me at the end of sentences. So they'd be like, oh, I love that me. Or I'm really, like, how hot's the sun today? I'm burning me. Like, they'll say it like that. So I found myself, I kept saying it.
Meh, I'm burning meh.
Yeah, I'm burning me, pal. So, like, I found myself saying it. And then me and Amelia sometimes, like, the Wigan accent's really thick. Like, love that me, pal. Like, we'll say that when we go. We'll say that when we go. She's laughing. We'll say that when we go to bed. I'll go, love you, pal. As we go to bed. So I'm immersed in it. I obviously got to play for Great Britain too. So my daughter's going to be half English. So
How good.
yeah, it's all good.
Where does the Great Britain come from? Like, how did you get
My mum's side.
Oh, your mum's side.
So mum's side. It goes pretty far back. Like I've got family members. Like I met my second cousins, third cousins that live in Plymouth. So right down the bottom of the country. Obviously Manchester's up north. They drove up to watch me play.
Wow.
Met people I never even knew existed. So it was a pretty cool cultural experience. And like playing for Great Britain, understanding like where I actually come from, like where my family roots come from.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
And what it means to be English for me. Growing up, I didn't even know I was English. And then when I found out when my nan passed away, well, I knew before my nan passed away, my nan was really thick accent English. And then didn't think too much of it. And then when she passed away, we did a bit of research on it. And then I ended up there. And like, if people ask what I am, I just say I'm English now. You know, I just feel like that's so strongly within me and I care about the place so much. I feel patriotic about it, you know what I mean? I'm born in Wollongong. But like that side of me, yeah, it's pretty strong. It comes out.
That's why you're tight with Kai Pearce. Paul makes sense
Yeah,
now.
exactly. The Mandem.
the Mandem. So how's Salford as a club? And like, was that a bit of a culture shock for you?
That was a culture
Far
shock.
out.
Mate, the gym wouldn't have been bigger than this. Oh, would have been just bigger than this, honestly. We had 2 squat racks. We had dumbbells that went up to like 35, 40.
I think we trained there one time.
Yeah,
at
you
the
would
Rock.
have. You would have.
Yeah, I think we did.
It's called the AJ Bell.
That's the one.
Yep. So unbelievable field.
Yeah, I know.
But we'd only get like 2,500 fans to every game. They were very reliant on like fans' money to come in to be able to afford players. So when myself and Joey Lussick went there in 2018, the middle of 2018, we were essentially getting paid. Our contract was essentially getting paid by the fans.
Wow.
So like there was like a trust where like the club wouldn't just take their money and pay for it. They would set up a trust to be able to afford us to be able to go play for the club.
Makes 0 sense.
Right. So like they were just so far in debt essentially. And then like because they would only get 2,500 fans to like a 20,000 seat stadium, they've got no revenue coming in. Do you know what I mean? But they have the most loyal, diehard fans you'll ever meet. You'd be able to see the exact same faces home and away every single game.
Salford, like my geography is not the best. Where does it situate?
So Manchester's here.
Yep.
It's like here. It's like,
yes,
it's
that's right.
Essentially Manchester.
Yeah,
You know
gotcha.
what I mean?
Grouse.
Yeah, mad spot to
Love
live.
Manchester.
Mad. Manchester's my favourite city in the world. Unbelievable.
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, we went there, no money, not many resources, but just like a loving, loyal supporter base that followed us everywhere we went. The year before me and Joey got there, they were in the relegation game. So they could have, so the last place of Super League played the winner of championship and they played in a game called the £1 Million game.
Yes.
To
Is that still around?
Nah, not around no more.
Oh, it's no more?
No. So just if you come last in Super League and you win championship, you don't play anymore. You just go up and down like that.
Wow.
So they played the year before, they played in that, right? And a guy called Gareth O'Brien kicked a field goal from halfway to keep Salford in. So then when we went there in 2018, we were in another relegation battle. So like we were in the bottom 4 of Super League, the top 4 of championship played. We ended up finishing first, so we were safe. And then I had a 3-year deal on the table from Wigan to go in 2019, or Salford offered me a 1-year deal to stay. And I took a gamble because of how loyal they were to me to stay at Salford. Anyway, the preseason rolls around and we were odds on. So when Leicester won the Premier League, we were longer odds to win Super League than what Leicester were to win the Premier League.
Wow.
We ended up making the grand final and getting beat by St Helens, like arguably the greatest modern day Super League side running around. So my time at Salford, nothing but positive memories. I loved it. I loved the people there. Got a deep connection with like members, fans, people on the board, everything like that. So it's good to see them doing well. Ever since I've left, and I'm not trying to claim anything here, but they've made the finals pretty much every year. So I won Man of Steel, then Brodie Croft won Man of Steel, who was at the club, and then Mark Sneed, the halfback currently, 3 years on, he was in the finalists for it. So
Something in the water.
it's a hotbed for if anyone's struggling in NRL, go over to the Mighty Reds. I'll give you a good word.
What about the owner? Isn't he loaded?
Marwan Kukash. He doesn't own them anymore.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to go too far into it. Marwan was always great to me, but he left him in a bit of debt when he left.
Oh, right.
He then come back and cleared his debt and paid it off, and then he's just off doing his own thing now. They're owned by someone else and got a new CEO, got a new board. They finally own their stadium. They've never owned their stadium.
Oh, really?
So they own it now. So like the class of 92, like Beckham, Scholes and all them, they own Salford FC, the soccer team.
Yep.
So they were going to buy the AJ Bell and buy everyone out of it, and they didn't. They ended up coming to agreement where they would just have their own field and stuff, and Salford can play out of there.
Wow.
So they did a massive favour to the league side, which is cool.
That's mad. Oh.
Yeah, well, where Amelia used to work, Paul Scholes and all that used to go in there. So I'd be running on a treadmill, and Paul Scholes was running next to me, and I was just like, "What is this?" I promise you, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a small world. Like Gary Neville.
Yep.
Gary Neville's
I love Gary Neville.
He's on TV 24/7 over there, and he'd just be in this class, and I'd want to get a photo so bad, and I was like, no, got to.
Is this in Manchester?
Yeah, got to keep professional. So I'm just running on this treadmill next to these guys. It's pretty the amount of people that you just see walking around. Like I remember seeing Tyson Fury one day randomly just walking around in the middle of Manchester. Like there's some stars that get about.
Did you ever come across any gypsies?
Yeah, I've got a funny story. So,
Yes.
So my mullet, right, I've got now.
Yeah.
It was way longer than this. It come down to there when I first went over. When I met Amelia, I was in a nightclub. I was hanging over the balcony with a gold chain on, like a tight shirt, mullet, and I'm going to her like this. Come up. We had like the booth booked out for like our Christmas party.
Yeah.
And I was with Joey Lustig. We lived together. He doesn't drink, so I'm going.
Doesn't he?
No, he doesn't drink. So I'm going. This chick doesn't want to come up. I was getting the shits. And then I said to him, you got to go down and just say that like we're from Australia, like see if they like the accent. He goes down, he got chatting, and then all of a sudden I see him walking up the stairs. I thought, what's he said? Like, and then all he said was, we're Australian. She just didn't want to come because she thought I was a Jippo.
We have to bring her in and just to confirm this.
She thought I was a Jippo. Yeah, she'll come in and confirm it. But I haven't had too many bad experiences, but you do see him around. And yeah, not to be messed with, that's for sure.
Yeah, far out. I just had to ask that. I don't know. Big fan of Peaky Blinders,
Yeah.
Gypsies, Tyson Fury. Had to ask.
Yeah. A lot of people used to question me about it. Like, am I a gypsy and that? And I'm like, what? Because of my haircut. That's it. And so they heard me talk and they were like, you obviously can't be. But
Yeah.
I know a few. They're good lads.
How good. Did you ever get a chance to go watch EPL? Any
Oh,
soccer
mate, I was
games?
always there. So
Who do you support?
Well, long story. You want to think I'm a Glory supporter? Go guess.
Liverpool.
Nah. City.
Man City. Oh, you're disgusting. You make me sick.
What are you, Arsenal?
I'm an Arsenal
Yeah,
supporter.
well, there you go.
Good
One
on.
of my best friends in this world, shout out to Kyle Walker, not the right back for City. He works for Sky Sports and he's a City insider. And essentially, like me and Joey picked a name out of a hat, but Kyle dragged me to the blue side. And
got ya.
I had no idea, bro. Like I knew that they were good, but like I didn't know where everyone's situated in terms of the ladder or who was grouse or not. But he kind of showed me the ropes and.
You had a peak.
I'm a loyal guy, man. So
You
I
had a
stayed-
pick of the ladder. Don't lie.
I stayed loyal to Kyle and I stayed loyal to City. So up them blue, man. And I love Jack Grealish.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
Fair enough. I'll take that.
He's got calves like this.
Bro, massive. So good.
They're meant, yeah.
So good. So good.
yeah.
Oh, whatever he's doing, I want that calf
I
program.
knew you were going to say Liverpool straight away. You know,
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought Liverpool going good now, and you said bandwagon. They're top of the ladder.
my missus' mum and stepdad go for Liverpool. So
Are they
I
Scousers?
can't. Nah, they're not Scousers. They're not Scousers. They're from Blackpool.
Oh, fair enough.
They're not Scousers.
Fair enough. So you've obviously time finished up at Salford, You eventually signed with Wigan,
Yeah.
a big club as well.
Yeah.
How was your time there?
Yeah,
Compared
unreal.
to Salford anyway.
Unreal, like different expectations. Salford was just like hope to win this week, whereas Wigan was we're going to win the grand final. Like nothing short of like we need to win. And I needed to go to a club, not that Salford didn't have expectations of eventually winning the grand final. We went to the grand final my last year there. But I needed to go to a place that was going to drive me to get to where I wanted to go. And like they had some of the greatest players to ever play, like Tommy Littlewise, Sean O'Loughlin, Liam Farrell. We had blokes like Zach Hardacre, Oliver Gildart. Like we had a star-studded side, mate. And I just knew that those players and the Wigan culture was going to bring the best out of the Jackson Hastings that I wanted to become. Like very regimented, very hard on like uniform, be on time, be respectful, like very diligent in everything they did.
Big club.
Massive club. They've obviously shown how good they are. They beat Penrith this year in the World Club Challenge. They've won the last 6 or 7 trophies on offer. Like they're a powerhouse. So to go there and to be coached by Adrian Lamb was one reason, but to play in a club
Was
where
Lammy the coach there?
Lammy was my coach. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So to go to a club that demanded success and demanded me to play well was a massive drive. And yeah, I love my time there. Won the minor premiership, made another grand final the following year. Got beat. I don't know if you've ever seen the field goal that hits.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
How did you guys lose that?
I know, bro.
That is honestly the biggest kick in the guts.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know. I heard Jimmy Graham and Christian Wolf, two Proud St Helens boys, talk about that grand final, and they've got the theory that they were all over us, which for parts of the game they were, but we got held up, I think. Like some of their defence was incredible, mate. Like Lachlan Coote, I think, saved like 4 tries just getting under our wingers. Like we broke the line 3 or 4 times and probably should have scored. And then we scored the only try of the whole game. And then to lose by that try on the bell was just, yeah, it was heartbreaking. Then played a final series the year after, didn't quite get to where we want. And then,
Man, you have to give it to James. Like he's been in how many grand finals?
Yeah,
Poor bloke couldn't win one.
If there's one guy that like, if there's one guy that I was happy to lose to, well, not happy to lose to because I hate losing, but if there's one guy that I could tip my cap to, it's Jammer, and got to play with him for Great Britain and just to see what he put his body through over the years. So fair play to him.
Fuck, I love that.
But then, yeah, signed with the Tigers and then got to come back to Australia, which was the ultimate goal in the end.
I wanted to speak about like the comparisons with the NRL and Super League.
Yeah.
Is there a big gap between them in terms of style of play? Like your footy IQ is pretty up there, so you'd know.
So like the first thing that's hard in England is the talent pool because there's not that many people that play rugby league. It's obviously dominated by union football or soccer as people know it here. Even things like tennis, like there's
cricket.
Yeah, cricket. There's things like that. And in the north, it's only rugby league, so unions or south. But there's the top 5 clubs every year, and like you can always put like Wigan up there, St Helens up there, Leeds most years are up there, Warrington are usually around there. Hull FC have had a bit of a dip, but they're always up there. KR now.
KR's on the rise.
Yeah, Catalan are always there or thereabouts. So maybe like the top 6, we'll say, year to year would compete in the NRL. But I don't know if they'd be able to get up every single week to play against the talent that's in the NRL, if you know what I mean. Because like it's so top heavy in talent, and the good clubs always get the best players and have the best young English kids coming through. They can generally compete when like their stars are out because the next best kid's coming through. Whereas the lower clubs or the clubs lesser on the ladder don't have that. They don't have the big squad depth. They don't have the money to pay for the big players and stuff like that. But like in terms of the actual game itself, Blake Austin says this all the time. I tend to agree. Like the middle of the field, I feel like is just a bash and barge. So you got to remember it's pissing down rain, wind's going sideways.
Does it still get dewy at night?
Mate, always.
Yeah, okay.
Big pommies, bald heads, step on your hands, fucking pull your beard, pull your hair, just rough as guts. The middle of the field is disgusting. The ruck speed's electric because you're not allowed to wrestle. It's just hit the deck, get up.
Yeah,
so like
wow.
retreating on side.
You'd think it's slower there.
Yeah, exactly right. I thought it was going to be slower,
Yeah.
but it's just like hitting the deck like the floor's on fire and the ball's gone. Small ingolds, wet field, so it's hard to like a lot of the unbelievable Aussie players that go over take a year or two to adjust to like how the game's played because yeah, you got to play like conservative and hold the ball, but they also encourage you to throw the ball around in winter. Like you can't feel your fingers. It's -1. You're playing on a Friday night, pissing down sideways rain, and they want you to move the ball in your own half. It's kind of like, well, fuck, how are we going to win if we can't hold the footy? The risk versus reward is way higher there. The ruck speed's way higher, and I think the middle of the field is just, it's like UFC sometimes.
Because I was contemplating going towards the back end of my career, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go there for 2 years, and I thought to myself, after that, I have to come back, rebuild my kind of
You seem like
life.
you were going to go to Catalan, eh?
I would have loved to go. To
Yeah,
the
that's it.
Catalans.
Yeah.
Catalans was nice. Like, I don't know. I spoke to Luke Keary yesterday, and he's heading off in I think next week.
Yeah.
I spoke to Nick Kotrick not long ago as well,
Yep.
and he just got there.
Yeah.
And it just looks like a good place to be.
Yeah.
Good place to live. Good place to raise a family, I feel.
Yeah.
And it's a strong club.
I don't know if you'd be able to go there single. I know Pissy went over there single, but like for me, someone like that needs to be on the go all the time, the language barrier would be difficult.
Yeah.
But if you had a family, I think that completely changed it. For someone like Luke Keary that's got 3 kids, I think, and a wife, I think he'll enjoy the freedom and being able to do what he wants, go to travel to Spain, go to Italy, do all that sort of stuff, live in a really nice house. Whereas where you're single, it's kind of like, well, right, they've got a language barrier of half my teammates, well, 3/4 of my teammates. The general public don't speak English that well. And Perpignan's like a small coastal town.
Yeah.
It's not like fully busy. So
Toulouse,
I'll struggle with that. Yeah.
Toulouse, funny story. Last year when I was at Newtown, they sounded out a couple of our boys to go over.
Yeah.
Not only them, but I think it was Castleford as well.
Yeah, right.
I think Sharbel Tassapala went to Castleford. Eliel Zakem, who was playing at the Roosters.
Is that the back rower?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
he went good. Yeah.
Went good over there. And then Toulouse, I think they were. I can't remember what position they were in, but they sounded out like Ko Iro from the Canali Sharks, me, Atkinson as well.
Yep.
I think there was someone else, I can't remember, but obviously we all decided not to go.
no.
But it does, I don't know, it did appeal to me. I looked it up, Toulouse, beautiful town, beautiful city.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the second biggest city in France.
Yeah, it would be,
I think it's the home of, is it Airbus? Airbus?
No idea.
I think Airbus is they're big manufacturers over there.
Right.
But they do the planes. And I don't know. I was like, do I go? But no, I kind of had one foot out the door at that point. I was like, I think
You're
I was
ready to hang
done.
'em up.
I didn't want to take my young family over there.
Yeah.
Like they were in school. I
Yeah,
was like,
exactly.
nah.
Well, that's the challenges that obviously we're going to face, because eventually I do want to go back, not now or anytime soon, but I would like to finish there and then get into some coaching and have my daughter experience that side of not only her family, but like you're half English, you know what I mean? So have her experience that too. So that's all what I've got to look forward to.
How do you combat the weather? Like particularly at training?
You know what? I embrace today because
cool.
pasty, I'm no good with the sun, bruv.
Well, I can't do it. Come here.
I will not train. I will not train on the field without a long sleeve now. So like,
Really?
I'll wear a long
Don't
sleeve.
say you wear long sleeves in pre-season.
Promise you, yeah.
No, you don't.
I swear, I promise. Hand on
How
heart.
do you do that?
I have to, man. Otherwise I get 18-degree burns and skin cancer,
yeah,
bro. You know
fair
what I mean?
enough. Yeah,
I wear, honestly, skin socks, long sleeve shirt, bucket hat.
So Dubai wouldn't have suited you.
Did not suit me, bro. I remember looking at my phone at 7:30 in the morning. We wake up and it's like 30 degrees. Oh, beautiful. What am I going to do today? You know what I mean? So the weather, winter, right? Winter is like in England, you can't really explain it to someone that's going to go there. Like I remember I'm tight with Lockie Fitz. He just went over and I said to him and Soph, like, you're going to have to be ready to embrace the winter. It's rank. Frost on the ground all the time, bit of sleet. The rain will hit you in the eyes when you're not expecting it. Be -4, and then you got to go wrestle someone on the field. Like, it's going to be shit. But if you go with the attitude of this is going to be shit, then it's going to be an awful time.
In alive.
If you just embrace it and just go, right, I've got an hour and a half to get through this, then I can go home and sit in my heater. That's the best way that people get through it. I've got my mate Davey Armstrong going over to Lee, and I can't wait for him to get there and experience the cold. Bro, what's this, bro? Like, it'll be blowing up. But the winters are harsh. Like, there's no ifs or buts.
Can't avoid it.
It's dark. It's dark until about 9:30 a.m. and then goes dark again at like 2:45, 3 o'clock. So by the time you go to training and get home, all you experience is darkness, really. So that's pretty hard. You got to be pretty mentally strong.
I know we've been a bit too long on this topic, but I want to speak about as well preseason. You guys go like to Portugal or Spain.
Yeah.
And
So most clubs they call it like a summer training camp.
Yeah.
You do like 10 games, 10 days in like Portugal or Spain or something like that. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. We'll randomly, when I signed with Wigan, we were going to do a training camp in Wollongong.
What?
Yeah, I know. Weird. So we didn't end up doing that. We went to Wales instead. Beautiful. Same. In the middle of winter.
Yeah,
Went to Wales.
that's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah,
that one.
slept on beds this thin. Thanks, Lemmy. Shout out.
Oh yeah,
But,
don't know what I was thinking about that.
Yeah, most clubs go to like Lanzarote and stuff like that, which is unbelievable. And obviously the English boys love it. So
Yeah, well, your time obviously finished up in England. You came back to the NRL, which I'm sure you would have. Were you happy about that? Like, were you happy to come back?
So like I went through a period there where I was like, you know what, that I got burnt pretty bad. If I never go back, I don't care. I've got a great life here. I've got a good support system behind me. I've been playing unbelievable footy for 4 years, like better than I've ever played. I'm confident in what I'm doing. I've got a good friendship circle. I'm always busy. I've always got something to do. Like, I'm going to build a life here. And then I remember just randomly one day I was like, if you don't go back, you're going to regret that for the rest of your life. You'll be that guy sitting in a pub saying, I played 49 NRL games. I was the next big thing. I could have done this or that. And I went, you know what? Fuck it. I rang Liam and I said, I don't know who would be interested. I don't know how much money they're offering me. I don't care. I just need to find one person that believes in me and one person that's willing to give me a chance, and I'll prove them right. And it took some convincing with the Tigers board. I think they were split for a bit, but Madge was the one guy that he wanted me so bad. Like, I wanted to play for him, for one, and he wanted me to go to the club and be a part of what he was trying to build there. And just the phone calls with him, you can see why he's been so successful. Like, I've obviously got a really close relationship with Madge, and I love him to bits, and I'm so excited that he's got the Brisbane job, and I'm hopefully that he does well. And what he did for New Zealand and New South Wales, he did unbelievable. But yeah, he was one guy that really instilled that confidence and belief in me, and told me that I'd be able to do it. And just 2 or 3 phone calls with him, and I was signed.
Jackson Hastings off to the Broncos.
That's the last thing I need. Cut. You'll have Brett Reid reporting on that too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, he's all over it. Tigers, like, obviously you had some good times, some bad times there as well.
Yep.
How do you see, like, they're kind of referred as the banter club in the NRL, right?
Yep.
Respectfully, but like, I haven't had a huge amount of success in the last 10 years. It's obvious. Facts are facts. Do you see they're on the right trajectory at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think who they've signed as well. Like, when you play against the Tigers, so like I obviously played for the Tigers, and you never knew how teams were looking at you. Like, I couldn't go into someone else's mind and be like, do they think they're in for a tough game today, or do they think this is going to be 2 points? I know when you play them now, especially having Benji as a coach, you're expecting the unexpected, so you're always on your toes, you know what I mean? There's always a trick play waiting to happen. There's always like a short side coming, Appy at 9. So you put Appy, Buller, Galvin and Luai together, like 4 extremely talented players. Like, Jerome's proved it on his own, playing halfback for Penrith without Naif, done it for Samoa at a World Cup. I love Galvin. I love watching him play. Just carefree, big, tall, athletic kid that will just play what he sees. Appy's a top 3 hooker in the game for me by a mile. Like, what he does for that, what he's done for the Tigers last 2 years, after what he's done for Penrith, after what he's done for Manly, after what he's done for Rabbitohs, like, done at Origin level. Like, I love watching Appy Coruscant as a player. And then Buller's one of the best fullbacks in the game already at his age. So, like, that's the recipe there. And then I think who they're adding around him, some strike outside backs, is going to really suit the way that Jerome and Galvin and Luai and all them play. So they definitely won't come last this year.
I love how you mentioned Appy, and like, I was fortunate enough to play with him, and the best attribute that he has is he knows how to adjust to the speed of the game.
Oh, mate.
Like, he's so good at, coming out of dummy half. He's very manipulative as well. A bit nonchalant, but then he'll fucking pull your pants down as well.
Like, I played with him at Manly, right? I played with him at Manly, and then, like, I don't know what you'd call it, but when you drop someone under and you got to lead, the way he just holds the ball behind him. Yeah. I remember just being at marker, you think, I've got this covered, he's going to drop him off, and then you end up doing a 360 and he's over there. You're like, what? And then, what he'll be able to do for Luai, I think, will be unreal. They've obviously played together at Penrith and got that little connection. So, I think they're going to be. I don't know if they're ready to win a comp. I don't know that. I'm not within the 4 walls, but I do know that they're going to be a very hard out this year and a very hard team to play against. So
I like that.
Looking forward to it. Like, I don't actually hold resentment towards the club at all. There was a couple of people there that aren't there anymore that didn't want me to stay or wanted me to play in the forwards or whatever it was. So I don't actually hold a grudge towards the Tigers. I actually wish them the best, and all the young kids there that have toiled for years and won spoons and been laughed at. I hope that they get a chance to succeed and play on the big stage. So
see, I know there's been there was a few reports coming out saying like you were disgruntled about playing lock, but I don't know how the truth of that. I'll ask you in a second, but like, looking from the outset, I think it's a compliment. Like, I feel like you being able to play in the halves as well as lock, because obviously you've got good distribution as well. You can play short, you can play at the back, which a lock needs to do in the modern game. How did you find that? Like, was it a bit of a dent to the ego that you got moved there, or like, how did you feel in that moment?
It was probably more that, like, I didn't really get asked. I just got told.
Oh, got you.
It's the way it all sort of unfolded for me at the time that I didn't appreciate, and I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. They had a vision there that, in hindsight, probably would have worked if I'd stayed and could have built on. But at that period, I'd played a few games at lock, played really well. We just beat the Broncos, and then obviously snapped my leg. And then for me, in the back of my head, I'm like, do I want to go through this for the rest of my career, where I'm just carrying 15 times a game? I'm having like 80 touches, playing out the back, playing short, making 40 tackles, and I probably wasn't as open to it as what I would be now, I guess. Like,
Yeah, cool.
I see myself as a half every day of the week, right? But if I was in a team, Newcastle, and they needed me to play a different position, I'd be way more open to it now than what I was then. I was probably young, trying to like make my mark back in the NRL. Like, I need to be this, I need to be that, really hard-headed. Whereas now, when you come towards the back end of your career or the other side and all you want to do is win a comp, I'm open to doing anything now. So I probably could have taken a little bit better, and as a compliment, like, oh, he's a halfback, but he can play in the middle. That's pretty cool. As opposed to, oh, I think I'm the best halfback here. I want to play 7. So it's just growing up, maturing, and then realise that I'm not out to impress anyone. Like, I got nothing to prove to anyone. Like, I don't play the game to make X, Y, Z smile or, like, he's a good player. Like, I know what I bring. So if I get asked to play a different position now, it's completely different mindset to what I once had.
Yeah. Like, throughout your career as well, like, you've also had to, like, jump from club to club. You know, it's quite obvious. What's the reason for all of that? Was that, like, your own doing, or was, like, were you going to, like, with the ambition to sign with a club that, oh, you know what, I want to stay for long term, or do you always want to do, like, short stints? Like, what's the...
No, I love this question, right? So everyone, it's a thing that I get hammered about on social media, which is quite funny. We have a giggle about it. It's like, no club ever wants you, blah, 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 blah. So the first 2 clubs, right, Roosters was mutual that I left. Manly was an infringement, right? I don't know what would have happened there. Like, I was just finding my feet there.
You know how, did you have to front the board? Or like with the show clause, like you see what Fox had to do?
It was already decided, mate. Yeah. Got a massive fine, contract like terminated. It was past the point of that, you know what I mean? Salford, I chose to leave to chase something bigger. Wigan, they wanted me to stay and offered me an extension, but I chose to go to the Tigers to chase something bigger. And the misconception about the Tigers is I didn't get kicked out. I didn't have to go. But Clem obviously wanted a change or be closer to Sydney or whatever it was, and I wanted to go play halfback. So we swapped.
Yeah.
So this conception that I can't stay anywhere, I get how it looks, and I don't give a shit how it looks. But that's the truth of it. You know what I mean? So instead of I come to terms with it because it used to chew me up a little bit. Like, fuck, they keep saying that I can't stay anywhere. It used to beat me up, and now I'm just like, but I'm moving because I want to move most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, the first 2, okay, that's a write-off. But the last couple of clubs I've been at, it's because I'm chasing something different. You know what I mean? In saying that, I do want to stay long-term at one spot and really nail down what I want to achieve at one club and raise my family in one spot if possible.
Yeah.
But the world moves quick and you just never know what's around the corner. But ideally staying in one spot from now would be ideal.
Big year coming up, brother.
Massive
good.
Year, yeah.
How good. I'm excited for you.
No, I'm excited, mate. Like, it's the first preseason I've had in 3 years where I haven't touched wood, I haven't had an injury going into it, or I haven't had COVID to contend with, or been in lockdown or any of that sort of shit. So I'm pretty confident in what I can do, and looking forward to getting my body in a position to be really successful.
Sounds like you're dialed in, brother.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Well, a bit of fun now, cuz. Did you think of 2 questions for me?
Amelia, have you sent them questions?
I've got to help me. Well, I'll kick us off, I'll kick us off.
You know why? Sorry. Joey Manu asked the question that I was going to ask because I looked at it before and I was
Fucking hell. No,
Go on.
I had a feeling he was an arse, and you know what? I think I'm going to throw producer Nick under the bus because he set me up for that. You prick.
Nice, Nick.
Let's go. Truth or sauce, brother. So if you know this game or do you know this game?
I've listened to it, yeah.
Yes, it's getting out. Love it. All right, let me get this out. I should have picked that up. I don't know why I've dropped it.
Put your glasses on, mate.
Fuck, I'm not that old.
Don't be a prick either.
If there's one moment you could take back, what would it be?
In my career?
Now you can either eat a chip or you can answer the question.
No, I'll answer it. Throughout my career? Oh, there's a lot I'd like to take back. Which one? I'm just trying to count down from the highest.
You want me to give you a few?
No, you know what? The moment at Manly,
yeah,
for sure. One, like, it put him in a compromising position, myself in a compromising position. What it did to my family and his family, what it did to Manly and the supporters.
So I don't think it was that big.
No, it wasn't. But what it did in the grand scheme of a lot of people's lives, I'm a little bit embarrassed about because, one, I didn't think it was that big, but two, it was just something that could have been so easily avoided. But what it did to my life as an individual, it just completely changed the trajectory. Whoa.
Trajectory.
Trajectory.
Yeah.
Spell it. Of what I was trying to achieve and do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I could have one moment back in my career, it'd certainly be that for sure.
Sweet. You want me to go back to back, or you want to ask me one?
You go.
Good, thank God. Oh God. All right. Listen, you've had a few pushes and shoves.
You know what? I was going to ask you something similar.
Oh, go.
Go.
You've had a few pushes and shoves at training over the years. Like, it's obvious. You're very competitive. If there's one player you want to get in the ring with,
I was going to ask you this. Exact question.
Listen, there's some fries in front of you. I don't know if you want to. There's nice.
So what was the question? If there's one guy that I'd get in the ring with?
Yeah, if there's
no,
one.
You know why? You know why I'm going to eat that chip? Because by the time I get my ass back in that car, or whenever this gets out, I'll have a phone call from George Rose, and I'll be on No Limit, and I'm not putting myself and my family through the embarrassment. So I have to eat. With
Yes, I got him.
Is this actually yours?
Did you just notice that as well? Yeah, nah, it's just a novelty.
Is it in there?
No, don't. That's
nice.
the fake stuff from the shop. Don't worry about that. Get that into.
How much do I have to have of this?
The chip's got to be decently covered. And I'm gonna take a wild punt. Like, you're not good with spicy food or chili.
No, good.
Yeah, so maybe just.
Out of 10, how hot's this?
Nah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I've seen you eat it. Is that enough?
Nah,
That what?
it's not enough. It's not enough.
That's enough. Yeah, there. Is that?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Bring the mic closer as well. Yeah, I want to hear.
Why's the producer laughing?
It's not that bad. Not that bad.
Oh my god, bro.
We got milk. We keep forgetting milk. Oh God. Well, I don't know if water helps. I think it's a myth if you drink water. I think it enhances the spice. You know, my mouth right now is tingling. Oh.
No, I don't. I want to cry. Oh.
Listen, you don't have to ask me any questions if you don't want to.
Oh, what is that, bro?
It just melts the fat off, bro. That's how I tell everyone.
You eat that? No, you don't eat that.
I don't. Not willingly. Not willingly.
All right. I've got one for you.
Oh no. Oh no.
No, that's not too bad, this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, are you resentful of Penrith's success right now?
Come on. Oh my God. What is it? Back-to-back weeks.
I don't feel sorry for it. It's coming at me eyes.
No,
Bro.
am I resentful? No, I'm not. No, I'm
That's
not.
a lie.
No, it's not. No, it's it's not. No, listen, resent is a strong word, I feel. Like, I think, would it be nice to be part of that? Of course, but do I resent? No, because the reality is I'm, 34 now.
Yep.
I was at the back end, I was 30 when I left. So, you know what? I understand. Like, it's a business, bro. My time was up there. It was a great.
Sorry, I'm taking this dead seriously.
Yeah, I'm opening up here, and you're laughing at me.
Sorry.
But no resent whatsoever.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Oh god. Yeah, nice. Good response. Hey, just try that if you want.
No, I'm good. We can move on. You can ask me another one.
I don't really, to be honest, we were thinking on the way down of all these questions, and then I was like, there's nothing I can really ask him. But
Yeah, perfect.
off the top of my head,
Oh, fuck.
if you were playing today, right, for Penrith on the wing, do you reckon you'd do a better job than the two wingers they had this year?
If I was playing today, currently, like with my
Would you do better job than Bizzer and
No way! No way! That's not right now. Like,
someone get the lie detector. I know he thinks he would.
Oh please! Oh please! Like right now.
Yeah.
If
you're in your prime, playing
my prime.
Yeah, you're not at 34. Yeah, see, I've got him.
In my prime, I reckon Bizzer definitely trumps me. Like, he's one of the best fucking wingers ever to play for Penrith and in the game. Like, let's be real. Saunier is a classy winger as well.
You want to say yes?
No, the only reason I want to say yes is because Saunier's, I think, 2 years into, or two or three years.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Yeah.
I reckon when he goes to the Tigers, I reckon it's an awesome opportunity for him to kind of really excel and make a name for himself. And yeah, I'm actually really keen to see what he's going to be like at Tigers. I don't know if he's going to be.
Is there talk he's playing centre?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a centre though. In my eyes, like, I love him on the wing. Like, I know there's a debate about what's a more valuable position in the team, like centre or wing. And
Winger for sure. I reckon,
right now, I feel like the winger's kind of just getting ahead, just because of, like, having to finish tries.
Yeah.
They decide a game essentially.
End of the line defensively is so important.
Yeah, always outnumbered. You got to make your right reads. You got to, diffuse bombs.
Yeah. Is that your favourite?
What's that?
Fuse and Bowl.
I've had a couple of fucking horror shows, but everyone would have. I've had some moments like any other winger has, but back to your question. I'm just gonna play humble and eat a chip.
Yes. Put a heap of that on, brother.
Yeah, but you already got that.
Put a heap of. I want half of that covered because you've experienced it before.
I don't think I'm ever.
Is it meant to make you like drip in sweat?
Yeah. I'm sweating right now, so this is gonna be interesting. That's enough for you, right? That's more than
that's
you.
That's plenty, mate. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It hits you after like 20 seconds, eh?
I've been doing. Woo! This does not get easier. That's
I'd be lying if I said my tongue like it's like someone just pricked my tongue with 1,000 needles.
Lucky we're at the end of the show
that.
almost. But anyway, thanks for that awesome question.
All good.
Tyson Pedro was our previous guest. He wrote you a question, brother, for you to answer. Stop. Yeah, wow, I'm sweating now.
Get the man some milk. Need some milk.
I need some milk. Look at that.
Oh, this is pretty deep.
Is it? I love that. We had an absolute shocker last week.
What was the lowest point for you, and how did you use it to grow and become the person you are today? Tyson Pedro. Shout out to Tyson Pedro, by the way. What a fighter. I used to love watching him fight. So respect to that man. But lowest point. We kind of half went through it just before, but
well, that moment, like, how did you get yourself out of it? Because like,
yeah,
you went through the ringer, you know.
So that moment of knowing that I'd been essentially sacked by an NRL club, that was my lowest moment, especially in my career. But the way I used it to grow was I knew I was going to a club that, one, I'd never heard of. I didn't know where Salford was. I didn't really know any players in their side. I knew they were at the bottom of the ladder. The way I used it to grow was looking myself in the mirror and realising that I was never going to put myself in that same position where I'd give anyone a reason to rip my contract up, for one. Two, I wanted to be a respectable teammate where people could trust me on the field and want me in the side. And then three, I just wanted to become a better person in general. You know, I had things in my life that I was letting slip and becoming erratic with like my behaviours on and off the field. And so for that to happen and what it put me, my family and everyone close to me through, it was a chance for me to come out the other side and really become a more mature, better version of myself. Like I was 21 when I went through that.
Wow.
I'm 28, turning 29 in a couple of months.
For some reason, I thought you were older than that.
Everyone thinks the two things I get in public, oh, wow, I thought you were older than that, and oh, wow, you're bigger than what I thought. I get it every single time I meet someone new. And I just think, oh, thanks. But just to become a way better person from that point. Like I've got my flaws like every other human does, but I've definitely grown so much from that point. Like it's chalk and cheese, the Jackson then and the Jackson now, and I'm pretty proud of how far I've been able to come and what I've been able to achieve since then too.
Love that, man. Great answer too, by the way.
Yeah.
Now it's your chance to write a question for our next guest, man.
Yeah,
I know who it is, but
right,
for the beauty of the show,
this is the one thing I've been dreading actually. I've got poor handwriting for one, and two,
you and me both.
Yeah, I could imagine you writing. I feel like if someone asked me this, it'd give me it'd give the public a greater perspective on who they are. You know what I mean? So if the character see as a flaw, I think that this will give them a great perspective on who they actually are as a person and what they actually
Interesting.
think.
I like that. You know what I noticed as well? You got an English haircut at the front and then you got an Aussie haircut at the back. Sorry, I know where it's going. I know we're very deep.
Go on. He's got a bowl cut. Go on. Am I cut about that? Yes.
No, I like it. I like it.
Don't lie to me. Anyway.
What are you going to do with this mullet? What, are you going to grow it again?
So this is my idea, right? Mrs. hates it. And I don't think it's a fashion statement whatsoever. But daughter's due in. Oh, wow. Sauce. I hate you for that. My daughter's due in April. So I'm going to grow it to April. Right. So I don't know what it's going to look like by then. Then I'm going to get a men's mental health charity.
Yep.
And I'm going to not fully bick my hair, but cut it short and get rid of that and raise some money for a men's mental health charity. And
why that charity in particular?
Because it's something close to my heart. Like obviously I've had a lot of struggles mentally myself. And I've only just been diagnosed at the start of this year with depression, OCD, ADHD and anxiety.
Really?
Yeah. So
just this year?
Yeah, just this year.
And what made you go get checked?
Amelia and my mum, the two people that my erratic behaviour affected the most within my life, and a massive reason why things in my life have happened is because of that. And I never wanted to give myself a title or say I think I have this, I think I have that. I've lost friends to depression, and I've know how deeply that affects people. But since I've been diagnosed and been on medication, my life has completely changed. Like, don't get me wrong, I have mood shifts like everyone else, but like I'm so centered now and like so even with how I am nearly every day, as opposed to you could get Jackson down here and you could not be around him, or you could get Jackson up here and he's the best bloke in the world to be around. And I was just way too erratic for my own liking and everyone else's liking around me. And who knows, that could have been the end of my relationship. It could have been the end of my relationship with my mum was starting to wane, and that's someone that I love as much as anything in this world, you know what I mean? So for me, men's mental health holds a really special place in my heart, because I was never of the belief to have medication. Like, I could just figure it out. I'm a man, you know what I mean? I don't cry. I'll be able to figure it out. But now I'm so in touch with like my feelings and like wanting to know if other people are okay and how can I help, and putting people before myself. Whereas before I knew about all this or got diagnosed, I'd known about this for a long period of time. Like, you know within yourself that you act in ways that you shouldn't, and there's something that's not right.
Yeah, yeah.
And since being diagnosed and being on medication, it's completely changed my perspective on life and what it means to be a human, really. So, to grow the mullet and then to cut it and hopefully raise some money for a charity that I haven't even thought of yet. I see that Foz is doing some great stuff with his charity. Unfortunately, what happened with his family, just sending love to them. But just doing something like that and bringing awareness to it, I suppose, as men, like you would have seen a lot of your mates or footy teammates go through it or silently gone through stuff. And if I can be someone like Kieran that brings a bit of voice to what we're going through as men, and like jokes aside, like you just said, like had a lot of push and shoves on the field and all the rest of it. If I can just bring a little bit of softness to what it means to be a male, especially athlete, rugby league player, then I'd love to be at the forefront of that and help everyone else out as well.
I love that. And just because obviously I'm foreign to it. How do you get diagnosed?
Yeah, so you don't just walk in and you don't sit down in front of someone and they go, yeah, righto, you've got this, this and this. I had to go sit in front of multiple people, do an array of tests. I had people close to me fill out some sheets of paper that had like, what would you rate this on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 being good, 10 being bad. And then I sat in front of some psychs and doctors and they would do their own measurements on how I react to certain situations.
Oh, wow.
They take in childhood trauma. They take in everything. It's not just an overnight thing. It probably took, I think, like 5 or 6 weeks for me to actually fully, one, get my story out, then my reactions, then how I dealt with this and all that, and they come up with their ways, and then they try you on a certain medication. If that's not strong enough, you have to go higher. So I started on like a low dose, and it just felt like I was getting migraines every day because it was getting my brain used to what the medication was going to do. Then I had to go higher because I didn't feel like it was quite working for me, and then now I'm at the highest dosage where I feel extremely even within myself. And as I said, don't get me wrong, I have moments of anger and I get upset. I'm not just walking around with a big smile on my face, but I feel like I make way better controlled decisions. Yeah. I wish I had the courage, like, to go and do this earlier. Like, I'd sit in front of people before and they would just write a million things down and you'd pay you $200 and I'd go, righto, see you next week. And then I'd get that again. Then I'd get that again. And I was like, well, you're not actually helping me. You're just listening to my story. I could go vent to my mum about that, you know what I mean? And then it took for a few people to push me in a certain direction and really take it serious. The Knights were involved, actually, so I've got to give kudos to the Knights for supporting me on that journey as well. And I'm able to speak so freely about it because it feels like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I feel like I was holding all this in, and I was so angry and so tense every time anyone would ever see me. And if there was ever a hostile moment at training like we just joked about, I'd be the first one to snap because I had no help. I didn't speak about it. I didn't want help. I'd just rather bottle it up and be an angry person and not have anyone to talk to than open up, be a bit vulnerable and have people that are able to help me. So, yeah, it's been a great learning curve and a huge life lesson to know that, like, there's people that care about you and love you more than you being the footy player. I always thought people just wanted to hang around me because I played footy and people talk about me, whether it's rightly or wrongly. People are always going to talk about Jackson Hastings. That's just how it is. But they actually hung around me because they actually love me and they see the good in me. And And now I actually see the good in myself, and I never saw that before. So, yeah, it's quite deep, and
I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
like so I actually got someone close to me that's
yeah,
diagnosed with bipolar, depression as well, and I can see definitely two sides to when they are taking the medication and when they're not.
yeah,
But I've never had not the chance, but it's very hard for me to actually come up to them and go, reach out and understand what they're going through, because I don't want them to make them feel like they have a problem.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was always scared of.
That's why I appreciate you like really sharing this kind of stuff. But even a former teammate of mine, I won't mention who it was, but like I could see his moods at training. Like one day he'll be this person, and another day he was nowhere near that person. It was like with two people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's hard to really like ask, are you okay? Because
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to start that conversation making them feel like I can tell that you look different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I was always scared to say or want to know that I've got something that doesn't align properly, because it's like you don't want to admit it to yourself.
Yeah.
But now a lot of people get diagnosed and they want to hold it within and they don't want to share it because it's embarrassing for some people. Whereas for me, like the amount of stuff I've been through, that's a tiny bit of embarrassment that can save someone's life.
It's not even. It's not an embarrassment.
No,
like everyone has their own journeys. Everyone has their own traumas and demons they've got to deal with, and some handle it better than others. Some have the supporting mechanisms.
Yep.
But like reality is, man, like it's in the modern day. Like it's fucking like social media. We can take a lot for that, but fuck, it's something that we've got to deal with now.
Yeah. So I think the more men that do, like men in general, but men with a little bit of a platform, the more they can speak on their own experiences, the more it's going to touch a kid. And hopefully if they're going through something as a teenager, for example, we're not seeing people take their lives. We're seeing their lives get saved. And that's what is important to me. Like I'm going to be okay. You know, like I know with my support group, what I do to help myself and my routine and how I look at myself now compared to what I did, I'm going to be fine. But if I can be a small part in someone else's journey that watches this or watches anything else I do, then that's a win for me. So
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I think we'll finish there, man. Thank you so much for coming in, man. I appreciate you sharing like your honesty, the insight as well. And mate, I'm looking forward to a big year for you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Hopefully I'll whip you in fantasy this week too.
We'll see.
Appreciate it, buzz.